2:13 in the morning, the Strait of Hormuz, USS Mahan, was already at general quarters. For the last 11 minutes, the Arleigh Burke-class destroyer had been tracking an Iranian Alvand-class frigate on a reciprocal course. The Iranian vessel, identified by its radar signature as the Alborz, had broken radio silence at 2:12 with a direct transmission on Channel 16, coalition warship, on course 300. You are entering a restricted zone. Alter your course immediately to the south to avoid an incident. The voice on the radio was steady and professional. It did not sound like a threat. It sounded like a statement of fact. Inside the Combat Information Center of the Mahan, the light was low and red. The only sound was the hum of the cooling fans for the Aegis combat system. Commander Sarah Vance stood behind the radar consoles. She did not look at the radio. She looked at the tactical display. Bridge, CIC. Contact is now 7,000 yards. Speed is 18 knots. He is still on a reciprocal heading. Copy, CIC. The officer of the deck replied from the bridge. We are maintaining course and speed. We are in international waters. We are conducting a routine transit. Under international maritime law, the Strait of Hormuz is an international waterway. The right of transit passage applies to all vessels, including warships. USS Mahan was following a pre-planned track that kept it exactly 3 miles from the Iranian territorial sea line. 3 miles to the north, on the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commanding officer watched the digital chart. His orders from the naval headquarters in Bandar Abbas were specific. He was to challenge any United States vessel that crossed the 26-degree north parallel. He had been tracking the Mahan for over an hour. The American vessel has not changed course, the Iranian navigation officer reported. They are at 6,500 yards. The Iranian commander nodded. He signaled to his radio operator, repeat the warning. Tell them they are approaching a closed exercise area. The second transmission reached the Mahan at 2:17. Coalition warship. This is the Iranian Navy ship Alborz. You are approaching a closed military exercise area. For your safety, you must alter course to 180. Commander Vance looked at the screen. There had been no notice to mariners regarding an exercise in this sector. No formal warning had been issued through the International Maritime Organization. Electronic warfare, CIC. Do you see any exercise activity? Any search radars? Any telemetry? Negative, ma'am, the operator replied. I have the Alborz navigation radar and her fire control radar in standby. I see no other Iranian naval activity in the sector. The air is clear. The Mahan was now 6,000 yards from the Alborz. At their current speeds, the closest point of approach would be reached in less than 10 minutes. Neither ship had slowed down. Neither ship had moved a single degree from its original heading. The Mahan had its 5-inch gun forward and its vertical launch cells ready. The Alborz carried C-802 anti-ship missiles. Both crews were following their standard operating procedures for a high-tension encounter. 6,000 yards, the tactical action officer announced. 5 minutes to the 5,000-yard threshold. Vance picked up the handset for the bridge-to-bridge radio. She was not going to turn. She was not going to hide her intent. Iranian warship Alborz. This is United States ship Mahan. I am a United States sovereign immune vessel conducting a routine transit through international waters in accordance with international law. I intend to maintain my current course and speed. The response from the Alborz was immediate. United States ship Mahan. Your course is not accepted. If you do not alter course, we will be forced to take further action. 2:25 in the morning. The bridge of the Alborz. The green glow of the radar repeaters illuminated the faces of the 15 crew members on the bridge of the Iranian frigate. The Alborz was an Alvand-class vessel, originally built in the United Kingdom, but heavily refitted with modern sensors and Chinese-designed anti-ship missiles. It was smaller than the American destroyer, but at these ranges, the difference in displacement was tactically irrelevant. The Iranian commander sat in the command chair on the starboard side of the bridge. He was 44 years old. He had served in the Navy for 22 years. His orders for this patrol were designated under Operation Sentinel-4. He was to maintain a visual and electronic tether to any Arleigh Burke-class destroyer transiting the strait. Target bearing is 175, the navigation officer reported. Range is 5,400 yards. The American vessel has increased its speed to 20 knots. The commander did not move. He watched the digital plot. Match their speed, maintain our heading on 350. We will keep the distance at 5,000 yards. Commander, the radio operator interrupted. Bandar Abbas is requesting an update. They are asking if the coalition ship has complied with the detour order. Tell them negative, the commander said. The American ship claims the right of transit passage. They have ignored the warning regarding the exercise zone. In the combat suite below the bridge, the Iranian weapons officers had already energized the fire control systems for the Kate-02 anti-ship missiles. The system was in slave mode, slave to the primary search radar, but the targeting gates had not been locked onto the Mahan. To do so would trigger the American ship's electronic warfare suites and likely lead to an immediate escalation. The commander of the Alborz was operating under a strict set of engagement protocols issued by the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps Navy Command, which shared oversight of the strait with the regular Navy. Those protocols allowed for assertive maneuvering to discourage foreign warships from approaching Iranian coastal waters. Range is 5,000 yards, the navigation officer said. We are now entering the narrowest part of the shipping lane. The Iranian frigate began to heel slightly as it adjusted its course by 3 degrees, to stay on a direct intercept path. This was a standard naval maneuver designed to show intent. By placing his ship on a collision course, even a distant one, the Iranian commander was forcing the American captain to make a choice. The bridge was quiet. The only sound was the click of the gyro compass and the low murmur of the radio from the coastal station at Kesham Island. They are not turning, the navigation officer whispered. Neither are we, the commander replied. Prepare the signal lamps. If they do not acknowledge the next radio transmission, we will use visual warnings. The Alborz was now, the two ships were closing at a combined speed of 40 knots. At this rate, they would pass each other in less than 6 minutes. The Iranian commander picked up his own radio handset. He did not use the pre-written script this time. United States Ship Mahan. You are currently 3 miles from Iranian territorial waters. Your presence is provocative. We are conducting live fire drills in the quadrant directly ahead of your position. For the safety of your crew, turn south immediately. On the radar screen, the 2 blips were now nearly touching the 5,000-yard ring. 2:38 in the morning. The Combat Information Center of the USS Mahan. The blue and red light of the consoles reflected off the glass partitions of the command booth. Commander Vance stood behind the tactical action officer, watching the digital track of the Alborz. The Iranian vessel was now 4,800 yards away. It had crossed the 5,000-yard threshold, a distance that, in the confined waters of the Strait of Hormuz, triggered a specific set of procedural responses under the standing rules of engagement. Electronic warfare? Any change in their posture? Vance asked. Negative, ma'am, the operator replied. The Alborz is still emitting navigation radar only. Her fire control directors are rotating, but not radiating. No signals consistent with a live fire exercise have been detected in the last 60 minutes. Vance turned to the tactical action officer. Check the latest notice to mariners and all secure broadcasts from the last 24 hours. Did we miss a local announcement of a closed zone? The officer worked his keyboard for 12 seconds. Nothing, Commander. The last Iranian notice was for a small boat drill near Bandar Abbas, 40 miles north of our current position. There is no recognized exercise area at these coordinates. Under international law, specifically, the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, the right of transit passage through international straits cannot be suspended or hampered by a coastal state. While Iran has not ratified the convention, the United States recognizes these provisions as customary international law. By claiming a closed exercise zone without prior notification, the Alborz was attempting to exert a level of maritime control that the Mahan was specifically tasked to contest through a freedom of navigation operation. The claim is invalid, Vance said. If we turn south now, we validate their right to close the strait at will. We maintain the track. On the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander watched the Mahan through a digital night vision optic. The American destroyer appeared as a sharp, gray silhouette against the black water. It showed no signs of slowing. It had not moved from its heading of 300. Range is 4,200 yards, the Iranian navigation officer reported. They have acknowledged the warning but are refusing to comply. They are citing international law. The Iranian commander looked at the communications log. His orders were to demonstrate national resolve in the face of foreign military presence. In the hierarchy of the Iranian military, the regular navy, to which the Alborz belonged, often operated with more professional restraint than the Revolutionary Guard Navy, but the strategic objectives remained the same. Signal the Mahan again, the Iranian commander ordered. Use the searchlight. Give them the standard signal for standing into danger. At 2:45, a high-intensity white light began to flash from the bridge wing of the Alborz. It was the Morse code signal for the letter U, uniform. It meant, you are running into danger. On the bridge of the Mahan, the lookouts reported the signal immediately. The officer of the deck did not look away from the windows. Bridge, CIC, Vance's voice came over the internal circuit. We see the visual signals. We are also tracking a second Iranian contact. A fast attack craft has just departed the coastline of Keshem Island. It is heading toward our stern at 30 knots. The situation was no longer a simple one-on-one encounter. The Mahan was now navigating a narrow corridor, with a frigate on its port bow and a high-speed contact closing from its starboard quarter. Maintain course, Vance ordered. If they are trying to box us in, we give them no room to negotiate. The distance between the Mahan and the Alborz was now 3,800 yards. The two ships were less than 5 minutes from their closest point of approach, 2:50 in the morning. 5th Fleet Headquarters, Manama, Bahrain. The watch officer at the Naval Forces Central Command Center received the flash precedence message from USS Mahan at 2:51. The message detailed the Iranian claim of a closed exercise zone and the approach of the fast attack craft from Keshem Island. Under standard operating procedures, any deviation from the pre-approved transit plan for a capital ship in the Strait of Hormuz required notification to the Commodore of Destroyer Squadron 50. Get the Commodore on the secure line, the watch officer ordered, and notify the bridge at Mahan that we are reviewing the Iranian claim. They are to maintain their current rules of engagement unless the contact shows clear hostile intent. Inside the Combat Information Center of the Mahan, Commander Vance was looking at the stern radar plot. The fast attack craft, designated Skunk November 01, was now 5 miles off the starboard quarter and closing. It was traveling at 34 knots. Bridge, CIC, Vance said into the handset. The fast attack craft is an Iranian Revolutionary Guard Navy Pay-Cap class. It is not part of the regular Navy frigate's command structure. We now have 2 separate Iranian entities on the plot. The presence of both the regular Navy Alborz and a Revolutionary Guard fast attack craft added a layer of bureaucratic complexity. The 2 Iranian branches often operated under different command structures and with different levels of aggression. On the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander was also watching the Pay-Cap-class boat on his radar. He had not requested their assistance. Communication. Do we have a link with the guard vessel? The commander asked. Negative. Commander, the radio operator replied. They are operating on their own frequency. They have not responded to our coordination hails. The Iranian commander looked back at the Mahan. The distance was now 3,500 yards. His orders from Bandar Abbas remained unchanged. Maintain the intercept course and discourage the transit. However, the arrival of the guard boat changed the tactical calculus. If the guard boat performed a provocative maneuver, the American destroyer might interpret it as a coordinated attack. At 2:58, the Mahan sent a third transmission to the Alborz. Iranian warship Alborz. This is United States ship Mahan. We are tracking the fast attack craft approaching our stern. We hold you responsible for the safety of navigation in this sector. Any interference with our transit will be viewed as a hostile act. The reply from Bahrain reached the Mahan at 3:02. The message was brief. From Comma 5th, FLS Mahan. Iranian claim of exercise area unverified. No formal notum issued. You are authorized to maintain transit. Exercise caution regarding Revolutionary Guard contact. Do not initiate kinetic action unless hostile act or clear hostile intent is demonstrated. Acknowledge. Acknowledge the message, Vance said. The Mahan was now 3,200 yards from the Alborz. The fast attack craft was less than 2 miles from the Mahan's stern. The three vessels formed a tightening triangle in the center of the world's most vital oil artery. The Mahan's crew remained at general quarters. The 5-inch gun was manned and ready. The sea-to-air and sea-to-sea missile systems were in a high state of readiness, but no launchers had been moved to an active firing position. Range 3,000 yards, the Tactical Action Officer announced. 3 minutes to CPA. 3:05 in the morning, 12 miles north of the Musandam Peninsula. The USS Mahan and the Alborz were now 2,500 yards apart. On the bridge of the Mahan, the officer of the deck used a handheld laser rangefinder to confirm the digital radar readings. The Iranian frigate was a dark, jagged shape against the horizon. Its navigation lights, the only point of reference in the moonless night, ranged 2,400 yards, the lookout reported. Relative bearing remained steady at 005. In naval navigation, a steady bearing with a decreasing range indicates a collision course. While the vessels were not on a direct head-on path, their projected tracks would bring them within 1,000 yards of each other, a distance considered extremely close quarters. For warships of this size operating at high speed, the Mahan was maintaining 20 knots, the Alborz was at 18. Their combined closing speed of 38 knots meant the distance between the two hulls was disappearing at a rate of approximately 1,200 yards per minute. Inside the Combat Information Center, Commander Vance monitored the secondary threat. The Revolutionary Guard fast attack craft, Skunk November 01, had closed to within 1,500 yards of the Mahan's stern. It was now weaving in the destroyer's wake, a tactic frequently used to harass larger vessels and complicate their ability to maneuver. Bridge, CIC, Vance said. The guard boat is positioned in our blind spot for the 5-inch gun. If we have to come hard to starboard to avoid the Alborz, we risk a collision with the craft at our stern. Understood, CIC, the officer of the deck replied. We are holding steady. We are the stand-on vessel under the international regulations for preventing collisions at sea. The Alborz is on our port side. It is their responsibility to stay clear. 3,000 yards to the north, on the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander was facing a similar tactical dilemma. The presence of the Revolutionary Guard boat was now an active hindrance. By buzzing the American ship's stern, the guard boat had effectively pinned the Mahan onto its current heading. If the Mahan attempted to turn south as the Alborz had demanded, it would have to cut across the path of the high-speed guard boat. The guard boat is interfering with the maneuver, the Iranian navigation officer said. If the Americans do not turn soon, we will pass them at less than 800 yards. This is too close for a transit of this nature. The Iranian commander looked at the Mahan. He could now see the white spray of its bow wave through his binoculars. He knew the American destroyer was equipped with the Phalanx close-in weapon system, capable of shredding a patrol boat or damaging a frigate's superstructure in seconds. He also knew that his own fire control radars remained in standby, a deliberate choice to avoid triggering an automatic defensive response from the Mahan. Ranges 2,000 yards, the navigation officer reported. The two warships were now within the warning envelope of most naval engagement protocols. On the Mahan, the crew of the Mark 38 25mm chain guns on the bridge wings had been authorized to chamber rounds. They do not point the weapons at the Alborz, but the safety pins had been pulled. 1,800 yards, the Mahan's tactical action officer announced. 90 seconds to closest point of approach. At this distance, the physical scale of the encounter became the dominant factor. The Mahan displaced over 9,000 tons. The Alborz displaced 1,500. The wake from the two ships began to interact, causing the smaller Iranian frigate to roll slightly in the dark water. Neither captain had yet blinked. Neither ship had altered its course by even a single degree. 3:15 in the morning, 1,200 yards. USS Mahan was now inside the minimum engagement envelope for its secondary weapon systems. On the bridge wings, the crews of the Mark 38 25mm chain guns reported that the Iranian Revolutionary Guard fast attack craft was maintaining a position 500 yards off the starboard quarter. The craft was oscillating its speed, surging forward and then dropping back into the destroyer's wake. Inside the Combat Information Center, the Tactical Action Officer held the warning shot checklist. "Commander, we are at 1,000 yards from the Alborz," the officer reported. "The fast attack craft is within the 500-yard exclusion zone. Under current rules of engagement, I am requesting permission to man the phalanx in surface mode and designate the craft as a track of interest." "Permission granted for the designation," Vance said. "Do not engage. Prepare the LRAD." The Long-Range Acoustic Device, or LRAD, is a non-lethal maritime hailing system that can emit a high-decibel warning tone over several thousand yards. It is the final procedural step before the use of kinetic force. On the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander could now hear the roar of the Mahan's 4 gas turbine engines across the water. The two ships were less than 60 seconds from the point where their physical paths would intersect if neither altered course. "The Americans are not yielding," the Iranian navigation officer said. His voice was flat, but he was holding the edge of the chart table with both hands. "Range is 900 yards. The Iranian commander looked at the Revolutionary Guard boat on his screen. It was behaving erratically, ignoring the standard naval etiquette of the strait. He knew that if the guard boat crossed the Mahan's wake or attempted to shoulder the destroyer, the American response would be immediate and likely directed at both Iranian vessels. "Bridge, Bandar Abbas." The radio crackled. "Report status. We are at 900 yards, the commander replied. "The American ship is maintaining 20 knots. We are on a collision course, requesting final instructions." There was a 4-second delay. "Maintain course, Alborz. Do not fire unless fired upon. Show the Americans that the strait is not theirs." On the Mahan, the Tactical Action Officer watched the AN/SPY-1D radar data. The Alborz was now 800 yards away. The two ships were so close that the radar return was beginning to saturate the display. "Bridge, CIC. Range is 800 yards. Bearing is steady. I recommend an immediate 5-degree turn to starboard to provide sea room." "Negative, CIC," the officer of the deck replied. "If I turn starboard, I run over the plight fast attack craft at our stern. I have no room to maneuver." The Mahan was trapped. To the north was the Alborz. To the south were the Iranian territorial waters. Directly behind was the high-speed guard boat. "Man the 5-inch gun," Vance ordered. "Train it on the Alborz. Do not load. Do not lock. Just let them see the barrel move." On the bridge of the Alborz, the commander saw the massive turret of the American destroyer begin to rotate toward him. It was a slow, mechanical movement. It was the most direct signal a warship can send. 700 yards, the Iranian navigation officer whispered. The air was silent except for the wind and the engines. The two ships were now at the peak of the crisis. 3:30 in the morning, 2 miles west of the Quoin Islands. The distance between the Mahan and the Alborz was now opening. By slowing to 10 knots, the Iranian frigate had allowed the American destroyer to pull ahead, breaking the collision course. The radar plot showed the distance increasing by 80 yards every minute. Bridge, CIC. Range to Alborz is 600 yards in opening. The Tactical Action Officer reported. The relative bearing is moving aft. We have passed the point of closest approach. Commander Vance did not leave the command booth. Copy. Keep the 5-inch gun trained on the Alborz until the range reaches 1,000 yards. What is the status of the fast attack craft? Skunk November 01 is still 500 yards off our starboard quarter, the operator replied. He has matched our speed at 20 knots. He is no longer weaving. On the bridge of the Mahan, the officer of the deck watched the Iranian frigate slide toward the stern. The immediate tactical crisis had transitioned from a potential collision to a standoff. At 3:35, Vance keyed the bridge-to-bridge radio again. Iranian warship Alborz. This is USS Mahan. I am increasing my speed to 25 knots to clear this sector. I am adjusting my course 5 degrees to starboard, heading 185 to provide additional sea room. Request you maintain your current speed and heading until I am clear. This was a procedural courtesy. By announcing the course change, Vance was ensuring that the Iranian commander understood the move was tactical, not a retreat or a violation of territorial waters. The 5-degree shift to the south took the Mahan further away from the Iranian coastline and the supposed exercise zone. USS Mahan. This is Alborz. The response came 30 seconds later. We acknowledge your course change to 185. We are maintaining 10 knots. We will continue our patrol on heading 350. We wish you a safe transit. The tone was professional. The closed exercise area was no longer mentioned. On the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander watched the American destroyer's stern lights pull away. He ordered his navigation officer to log the encounter as a successful identification and challenge of a foreign warship. By the standards of his headquarters in Bandar Abbas, he had fulfilled his mission. He had forced the American ship to acknowledge Iranian presence and to eventually adjust its course, even if only by 5 degrees. The guard boat is still following them, the Iranian navigation officer noted. That is no longer our concern, the commander replied. We have established communication. The situation is stable. At 3:42, the Mahan increased speed to 25 knots. The vibration of the gas turbines increased, felt through the deck plates of the Combat Information Center. As the destroyer surged forward, the Revolutionary Guard fast attack craft attempted to maintain its position at the stern. For 3 minutes, the small boat bounced violently in the Mahan's heavy wake, its engines straining to keep pace with the destroyer's higher speed. Bridge.
Patrol boat to abort the mission and return to
Vance said.
Immediately.
The guard boat is falling behind. Range is 800 yards, 900. He is failing to maintain the intercept. The physics of the encounter were now dictating the resolution. A small patrol craft could not sustain 25 knots in the open chop of the strait as effectively as a 9,000-ton destroyer. 1,000 yards, the tactical action officer announced. The Alborz is 3 miles astern. The fast attack craft has turned back toward Keshem Island. The triangle had broken. The Mahan was alone in the shipping lane, heading toward the deeper waters of the Gulf of Oman. 4 o'clock in the morning, the eastern entrance of the Strait of Hormuz. The USS Mahan had moved 12 miles from the point of closest approach. On the tactical display in the Combat Information Center, the icon representing the Alborz had turned from a flashing yellow to a steady green, indicating it was no longer considered an immediate threat. The fast attack craft from the Revolutionary Guard had disappeared from the surface search radar 6 minutes earlier, likely masked by the coastal clutter of Keshem Island. Bridge. CIC. The range to Alborz is now 8,500 yards, the tactical action officer reported. She is steady on course, 350, speed 10 knots. She is returning to her previous patrol sector. Commander Vance stood up from her station. She had been on her feet for nearly 2 hours. Very well, secure from general quarters. Revert to condition 3. Set the watch. The announcement was made over the 1MC, the ship's general announcing system. Throughout the destroyer, 281 crew members began the process of standing down from their battle stations. On the bridge, the extra lookouts were dismissed, leaving only the standard watch team. In the engine rooms, the gas turbines were adjusted from high readiness to a more fuel-efficient cruising speed. 3 miles to the west, on the bridge of the Alborz, the Iranian commander also ordered a reduction in readiness. The tension that had defined the last 90 minutes had dissolved into the mechanical routine of a night watch. The American ship is at 9,000 yards, the Iranian navigation officer said. They have altered course back to their original heading for the Gulf of Oman. The Iranian commander nodded once. He sat back in his chair and looked out. At the dark horizon, he called his communications officer. Signal, Bandar Abbas. Report that the foreign warship has been successfully monitored through the restricted sector and has departed the primary patrol zone. State that no kinetic engagement was required. This report would be processed through the Iranian chain of command. In the morning, it would be cross-referenced with the reports from the Revolutionary Guard unit. The discrepancy between the regular Navy's professional de-escalation and the guard boat's aggressive maneuvering would likely be ignored in the official press release. From Tehran. On the Mahan, the bridge team used the shipboard optical sensor system, a high-resolution thermal camera, to maintain a visual on the Alborz as the distance grew. The grainy green image on the monitor showed the frigate's exhaust plume and the steady white foam of its wake. There were no lights visible on its deck. She's just another gray hull in the dark now, ma'am. The officer of the deck remarked as Vance stepped onto the bridge. She was a professional opponent tonight, Vance said. The guard boat was the variable. If the Alborz hadn't slowed down, we would be writing a very different report right now. Vance walked to the bridge wing and looked out at the black water. The air was beginning to cool as the first hint of pre-dawn light touched the eastern horizon. The transit had been successful. The principle of freedom of navigation had been maintained without a single shot being fired. Keep a sharp eye on the radar for the next hour, Vance said. I'll be in my cabin. Notify me if any contact closes within 5,000 yards. The bridge was quiet. The only sound was the click of the gyro compass and the soft murmur of the navigation team. The Mahan continued its course, leaving the narrow waters of the strait behind. 10:15 in the morning. Washington. The Department of Defense issued a 3-paragraph statement at 10:15 regarding the transit of the USS Mahan through the Strait of Hormuz. The report categorized the encounter as a safe but unprofessional interaction, initiated by Iranian forces. It noted that at no point was the American destroyer in Iranian territorial waters, and that all international maritime protocols were eventually observed. On a major news network, retired Rear Admiral James Thorne provided a technical breakdown of the event during the mid-morning broadcast. What occurred in the strait last night was, by any technical definition, a maritime incident of the first order. The fact that it did not escalate into a kinetic engagement is a testament to the training of both the Mahan and the Alborz crews. What we are seeing is a persistent friction between the regular Iranian Navy, which generally follows international protocols, and the Revolutionary Guard Navy, which acts as a strategic wildcard. The Admiral pointed to the digital radar tracks released by the Pentagon during the briefing. The critical moment in this timeline was not the initial radio warning. It was the decision by the Alborz to reduce its speed to 10 knots at 3:25. That was a non-verbal signal of de-escalation. In the naval world, speed is intent. By slowing down, the Iranian commander allowed the Mahan to maintain its legal right of transit without a physical confrontation. It was a procedural solution to a political provocation. The official report from the Mahan would later confirm that the destroyer's Aegis combat system had maintained a continuous track on 42 separate air and surface contacts during the 90-minute transit. The data showed that the Revolutionary Guard fast attack craft had remained within the danger of collision zone for a total of 21 minutes, reaching a closest point of approach of 300 yards. Thorne continued. It provided what we call sea room. It did not surrender the legal point of transit passage, but It removed the immediate physical pretext for a collision. It gave both sides a face-saving exit in a very confined space. In Tehran, the state news agency reported the incident as a successful defense of territorial sovereignty. The report claimed that foreign intruder vessels were forced to alter their course after receiving warnings from the Iranian Navy during a scheduled exercise. The reality was captured in the dry, technical logs of both ships. No weapons were fired. No damage was sustained. The Strait of Hormuz remained open, its daily flow of 17 million barrels of oil uninterrupted by the standoff. The incident was officially filed in the Pentagon's records as a routine transit with anomalies. It would be studied at the Naval War College as a case study in bridge-to-bridge communication and tactical restraint under pressure. In these waters, Thorne concluded, the line between a routine patrol and a regional conflict is often measured in hundreds of yards. Last night, that line held.